All right, let's talk about Salesforce release notes. You know how it is. They can feel like this massive wave of information coming at you. So we've done the hard work. We've gone through the Spring 26 release and pulled out the features that are actually going to make a difference in your day-to-day life as a Salesforce admin. Let's dive right in. I know what you're thinking. Another release? It's a totally fair question. With 3 of these every year, it's so easy to get release fatigue. The real trick is cutting through all the noise to find the gems, the updates that are genuinely going to save you time and make your org stronger. And that's exactly what we're going to do. You know, when you really boil it all down, this release is built on 2 powerful ideas. First, making your job easier with smarter tools that help you get things done faster. And second, a huge focus on security, giving you way more control and just safer settings right out of the box. Let's start with making your job easier. And the headline act for making things easier is, without a doubt, Agentforce. This is Salesforce's new AI copilot, and it's designed specifically to help admins like us with all those configuration and setup tasks. Oh man, we've all been there, right? You've got the setup screen open on one monitor and then pages and pages of documentation open on the other. You're constantly flipping back and forth. It's slow, it's frustrating, and that's exactly the headache Agentforce is built to solve. So this is where your whole experience starts to change. Instead of clicking through a maze of menus, you just start by having a conversation. You describe what you need in plain English, something like create an audit object with these fields. It completely transforms a complex task into a simple request. And boom, here's the magic. In just seconds, Agentforce takes that request and turns it into a full-on data model. It suggests everything, the API name, the right field types, the whole shebang. All that tedious initial setup work is just done. Your job is no longer building from scratch, it's reviewing and refining. It's a total game changer. And make no mistake, this isn't some little side tool tucked away somewhere. This is a fundamental shift in the admin experience. The new setup homepage puts Agentforce right at the front and center. Your entire workflow can now kick off with a simple question, making setup less about navigating menus and more about just describing what your business needs. Okay, so beyond the big, flashy AI features, Spring 26 is also packed with what I like to call quality of life upgrades. The stuff that targets those small, everyday frustrations and just makes your job a little more intuitive. So the key phrase here is silent errors. These are those sneaky issues that don't totally break a page, but they cause weird behavior. And usually, you have no idea they're even happening until a user files a ticket. Well, the new Error Console puts all of these in one place so you can actually be proactive and fix things before your users even notice. And you know what the best part is? Turning it on is ridiculously simple. It's literally just 2 steps. You just pop over to User Interface and Setup, and then check a single box. That's it. And here's a look at just how easy it is. Right there in the user interface settings, you scroll down to the advanced section and there's the checkbox you need. One click and you've just unlocked a super powerful debugging tool. All right, next up is a really small change that's going to have a huge impact. And it's all about this number, 200. This update is designed to stop a very specific and, let's be honest, a very frustrating error when you're working with list views. Have you ever done this? You've spent a bunch of time carefully inline editing, say, 250 records in a list view. You hit save, and you get an error because you went over the limit. So frustrating. Well, this update stops that from ever happening again. The system now prevents you from even selecting more than 200 records to edit at once. It's a simple, proactive guardrail that really respects your time. And let's quickly run through a few more of these awesome quality of life upgrades. First, dashboard tables will finally respect the settings of their source report automatically. No more workarounds. Second, when you share report folders, you can now see precise usernames, which means no more confusion between 2 people named John Smith. And finally, there's a new request approval component that makes it way easier to build flow-based approvals right onto a record page. Okay, let's pivot and talk about the second major theme of this release, security. Spring 26 really delivers some more precise tools and safer defaults to help you lock down your org. This is such a great example of getting security right. Before, if a user just needed to delete files, you basically had to give them the keys to the entire kingdom with modify all data. Talk about a security risk. Now there's a dedicated permission just for deleting files. It's the right tool for the job, plain and simple. And you'll find this new permission right where it should be, on Profiles and in Permission Sets. Delete Salesforce files is now its own distinct option, so you can grant this one ability without accidentally giving a user a bunch of other powers they just don't need.
And the security upgrades just keep on coming. The health check tool is getting smarter. It now tracks critical things like MFA status and can even email you if your score changes. The Shield products are all being gathered into one dedicated app to make them easier to manage. And here's a big one. Creating new connected apps is now turned off by default, giving you much tighter control.
Let's just double-click on that health check update for a second. This notification feature is a really big deal for staying on top of your org security. You can set it up to email you or all your system admins the moment your security score drops. This helps you shift from being reactive to truly being proactive. So, we've covered AI that makes you more efficient and a whole bunch of security upgrades. The big question is, what should you actually do with all this information now? You know, this quote from the source material really just hits the nail on the head. The whole point of these updates is to make our jobs as admins more predictable, more secure, and ultimately just more manageable.
Okay, if you only take one thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this. Please test these changes in a sandbox. As soon as that release preview is available, jump in there. Play around with Agentforce, turn on the Error Console, check out the new security permissions, get comfortable with all this stuff before it ever touches your production environment.
And that really brings us to the final thought. With an AI copilot to speed things up and a security toolkit that makes your org safer by default, you're going to get some time back. So the real question I'll leave you with is, what are you going to do at that time? What are the bigger, more strategic projects you're going to focus on next?